The Affordable Health Care Act, better known as Obamacare, aims to provide insurance to all Americans. To do this and to subsidize this, Barack Obama has proposed that we cut Medicare, or cut spending in Medicare and cut spending in Medicaid. He also proposes a tax on people who make 5 times the poverty line, and this will all provide 19 million Americans with tax credits in order to pay for their health care. What parts of Obamacare are your candidates uncomfortable with, and how would they change it?
Representing Barack Obama, clearly our candidate is very comfortable with Obamacare. Regarding Medicare, he actually is doing what you're saying by finding what was waste in the program and then taking $760 billion from that waste to support the program. So you can either have new and improved Medicare or a voucher system where preventative services, for example, flu shots, are not always provided to people, especially seniors where this is so important. The Affordable Care Act holds insurance companies accountable for the first time ever. No longer can Americans, especially young Americans, be abused by these insurance companies. For example, Mitt Romney has a big issue with pre-existing conditions. As somebody who personally has a pre-existing condition, I find it very comforting that my candidate, Barack Obama, will not drop my insurance coverage as soon as I get sick, as soon as my condition gets worse. Also, 100 million Americans saw lifetime caps on coverage lifted for the first time ever. Clearly, we're expanding coverage to more people than ever before, instead of handing it to Romney, where we'll go back in time.
1 minute.
Additionally, Governor Romney is seeking to repeal the same system that he had in Massachusetts, which I find very confusing, that a political representative of our government who completely talks about almost at every chance he can what he's done as governor of Massachusetts and how he's bettered the country, how he's put Massachusetts at the top of education, at the top of job creation. But Mitt Romney isn't really doing that. He's trying to repeal the same system that he had going in Massachusetts.
Also, under Obamacare, 3.1 million young people now have health coverage. Mitt Romney is actually looking to repeal this. So ask yourselves, as young people, would you like to be insured under your parents?
Okay. Response?
Well, first of all, I would like to address what Olivia said. Mitt Romney created Romneycare, which was ran at the state level. He supports parts of Obamacare, but he believes it should be reformed and ran on the state level. Also, he thinks that illegal immigrants should not be entitled to subsidized health care, which would be Obamacare, because they have not paid into the system. Also, Medicare, which is for our seniors, is believed to be more important for people than for people 19 to 25. Because of Obamacare, many doctors are not going to accept government insurance. $1 trillion more in healthcare spending will discourage work and penalize marriages under Obamacare. This will drive the taxes on drug companies up for seniors and will cause them to lose many benefits. Many seniors take advantage of Medicare Advantage, which gives them many benefits. These benefits would be diminished under Obamacare. So if you let the states run it themselves, they will do a better job than on the federal level. And I spoke to the son of a doctor, and he said that his dad is putting in more hours than he ever has, and he is bringing home less money. We need a system that works for all Americans, not just for certain people. Thank you.
Okay.
Are you allowed to respond to these comments, especially if they're false?
No, you're not allowed to.
Fair enough.
In order to fund certain public services, the government has needed to borrow money from countries such as China. This has put us about $1.1 trillion into debt. Furthermore, we're approaching what's been called the fiscal cliff, or the end of the Bush tax cuts. Many economists believe that the end of the Bush tax cuts will cause our economy to slow down even further and put us even farther into debt. How would your candidate tackle the fiscal cliff and growing deficit?
Well, first of all, I'd like to address that President Obama has no credibility on this issue. When he was running for president in 2008, he said that he would cut the debt in half. He has almost doubled this deficit. He claims he wants to take down the debt responsibly. He doesn't have a plan to do this. Mitt Romney has a plan. He wants to pass a budget. The Senate, which has been a Democrat majority during Obama's entire term, hasn't passed a budget in 1,250 days. They have added $1 trillion to the deficit every year since Obama's been in office. Part two, reform certain programs and cut programs that waste money. For example, welfare. This program can be reformed so people get off of it. This needs to be reformed so people have incentive to work in this country again. Also, Obamacare. It adds $1 trillion to the debt on the taxpayers for the next 10 years. Also, in President Obama's stimulus package, the Department of Energy found that $20.5 billion from his stimulus went to campaign supporters. This man said he was going to be transparent with the people. I call this cronyism. An example of this $20.5 billion going to a certain company. $535 million went to a company called Solyndra. President Obama supports green jobs. This company was supposed to create green jobs. This company is now bankrupt. And this is where this money has gone.
Okay. A response?
Okay. What I find really funny is that the other side is saying what's completely true in their opinion, how they feel the deficit is too high, Obama's not done the right job. You keep failing to talk about what your plan to handle the deficit is. I'm pretty sure we all saw this on national television last night when, once again, Romney could just not answer the question. If you want to get into specifics, yes, the deficit is higher. Yes, we have borrowed from other nations. But yes, we walked into a disaster from George Bush. It's key that you mention this past president's name. Although the deficit has gotten higher, jobs are increasing. For 31 consecutive months, they have been. While jobs are increasing, our economy is getting stronger. Between these spending cuts, which only Obama has gone into detail about, and the revenue increase will reduce the deficit by over $4 trillion in the next decade. Now, I know you say, what have you done in the past 4 years? What if you had another 4 years? This isn't just a term that can solve this kind of issue. We were put into a very bad situation, an economic crisis that developed over decades and decades. So yes, it's going to take at least a decade to fix it. We believe in middle-out economics. Help the middle class and expand from there, not trickle down. You can't help the upper class and then expect the rest to work.
Going back to Governor Romney's esteemed career as Massachusetts governor, specifically on national television, Governor Romney stated that he would crack down on China and bring jobs back to America, trying to really appeal to this middle sect of Americans in the key battleground states. I'd like to point out to you that Mitt Romney, for the majority of his campaign, has positioned himself as a businessman. And because he is a businessman, he knows how to deal with our economy. However, on national TV, he's more than a businessman. He can connect to the people because he pays 14% of his taxes while the average American pays 30%. I would like to also point out that in this crackdown on China policy, Governor Romney has outsourced more jobs than any other Massachusetts governor. Under Romney, food stamps, child support, and unemployment insurance has all gone overseas.
Okay. Moving on to our next issue. In 2008, what many people called the housing bubble burst. This caused an economic downturn of which we have not recovered yet. This made unemployment skyrocket, and while unemployment has fallen to 7.8% in September, and there has been some signs of job growth, it's still above the 4 to 6%, which is recommended by most economists. How would your candidate tackle these problems?
When speaking on unemployment, and once again, this is linked to the deficit, Obama walked into an economy from George Bush that was losing 800,000 jobs a month. As I've said before, we've now seen 31 consecutive months of job growth and 5.2 million new private sector jobs. I know this might be a foreign concept to you. These jobs are actually in the United States as opposed to outsourcing them in China for our private companies. We believe in investing in this country, small businesses. If you help them, we can grow from the middle out. As well, we've saved 1 million jobs in the auto industry. I'm sure you hear a lot Romney wanted Detroit to go bankrupt. And once again, he tried to fight this on national television last night. No, they were going to go bankrupt to rebuild themselves. But you cannot do any business while you're bankrupt. Obama allowed that to happen. Hence, 1 million jobs are saved, along with GM and Chrysler. 459,000 jobs have been added to U.S. manufacturing. If you want to compare this to Romney when he was governor, Massachusetts lost manufacturing jobs at twice the national average. Yes, the national average that was so bad under Obama was even worse under Romney.
Romney also attacks Obama's efforts at creating clean jobs, green jobs, pushing our country towards the future. Romney positions himself as a man who wants to put America back on a pedestal, and he says he's championing things like coal energy, clean coal. He stood in front of a coal mine in rural America and watched it close down. Obama is putting money in wind power and clean energy and things that will actually put our nation on an economical path towards sustainable growth.
Our response.
Well, in January 2009, the unemployment rate was 7.8%. This is the current unemployment rate. We have 23 million people that are unemployed or underemployed today. Barack Obama speaks of what he's done the past 4 years to create jobs. He has not given us a vision for the next 4 years of what he will do to create these jobs. Mitt Romney has a plan. Part 1, get America energy independent by 2020. This will use our natural resources and develop them. This will create millions of jobs in refineries and ports throughout the country in America. Part 2, trading that is fair to the United States. President Obama has not cracked down on China, labeling them a currency manipulator. They have abused their trading power, and we need to level the playing field so American businesses can compete with Chinese trading techniques. The Chinese have cheated the system, and we need to fix that. Part 3, provide Americans with the skills they need. We need better public schools, better access to higher education, and programs that train the unemployed for specialized jobs. During Mitt Romney's time as governor in Massachusetts, he had the #1 schools in America. Part 4, cut the deficit. Like I said, Barack Obama has no credibility on this issue. He will reduce the size of government, Mitt Romney, and make America a place where people want to open business. Part 5, champion small business. Small businesses create millions of jobs in America, and they are very important. Small businesses will be squeezed if the Bush tax cuts expire. This will raise taxes on small businesses by 7%. Finally, Americans have a choice between a plan that will flourish if used and put into action, or an imaginative one that President Obama has proposed.